Hello and welcome back to Danger Aware Animation Department. And today we are going to continue working on our tree puppet. Now I created a tree in the last video, background tree number 1, and version 3 was the final. So here's the tree I had created in the last video, and I believe I accidentally cut out the part where I actually set up all of the identity here. But if you need to know how to do that, you can look at the prior video about the any yellow harvester ant. And in there is where I figured out how to do all this. As you can see, we can alter this tree to many different trees quickly and easily. Just takes a few moments and we've got another tree. We can also manipulate that tree to sway in the wind and have different parts swaying different directions if we need to. We can show what we want of this. Also, we can have the foliage disappear so that we're looking at a tree in the middle of the winter, or we can change the colors so that we're looking at the tree during fall. So we can really do just about anything we need to make the tree whatever kind of tree we need. But there's one more thing that I didn't think about till I was watching the video after I posted it, and that is fruit. Not all trees are fruit trees, but if we want this tree to be a fruit tree, I didn't do anything about that. So what we're going to start off with here, instead of jumping into tree 2, I'm going to add one more thing here to tree 1, and that is to add fruit to it. So we're going to add a bone. Let's turn on the grid. We're going to set the scale on the grid to 80 because we already know that I created this tree at quite a large scale. And so now we're going to add another bone here to here. And this is just going to be bloom to fruit. So there we go. We want to make sure that we add constraints to the bone. Yeah, I'll leave it at 70 and minus 70 for this one. And then we want to make sure we remove the strength from the bone. Set it to 0. Then we're going to create an action. And that action is bloom to fruit. But before we do that, actually, we need to create the objects that will become the fruits. So they need to be able to show both blooms and fruits. So let's create a new layer, and it's going to be in front of everything, and we're just going to call it fruit. And then we're going to create our fruit, and we don't want the grid any longer. And let's just zoom in here and create a single item of fruit. So I think that width is too thick, so we'll go to something more like that. And now we're going to split the curve. And the reason we split the curve is because it keeps the circle and gives us more points. We could add more points manually, but we would be correcting everything. So instead we're going to split the curve, and we're going to go 2 points between every point. So we're going to end up with 3 times as many points. So now there's our fruit. Now to make it a bloom, we can easily adjust these in the curves, and then we can change it to a fruit with even a stem if we want to go that far. But I don't think we need to go that far because it's a background tree. That's the point. It's for the background. So there we go. That's our one fruit. Let's go ahead and place a number of other fruits. So copy and paste. that should probably be enough. Let's make a couple of them smaller. So they're not all identical. So there we go, we've got our fruits, and let's add a couple more. I think we can put it over here, and over here. And that should be fine. And so now, we're going to need another bone for fruit color. So, yeah, because there may be oranges or apples or lemons. Let's add another bone. So back to here, beaver bone, and add. And instead of adding, I'm just going to copy so I don't have to turn the grid back on. So I'm going to go copy, paste, and then just move this on over here. So this one will be bloom color, bloom or fruit color. Alright, so now we will have bloom to fruit, which includes a size of none to a size of maximum, and then color. So, our first action is going to be to change the fruit from blooms to fruits. So we're going to click OK. We're going to rotate the bone to the minimum position. You got to use the transform bone tool for this. Then we're going to jump to 141, rotate all the way to the right. That gives us our range for our products. So at this point we're going to select the fruits, and they're all going to be at maximum size, which is their current size at this point. So we're just going to select each one of them and select their size. You got to get right in the middle. There we go. I'm not changing their size, I'm just making sure that we've set it. Actually, I think what I can do here is just grab all of these and then just reset them. That way, at this point, they're going to be that size, and with that, where they're at. So now, we're going to go to 1, and at 1, each of these are going to be invisible. So let's just go and turn the fruit off. So invisible, apply. Then we're going to move to position 2 on the timeline. I'm using the cursor keys on my keyboard. And we're going to set visibility to apply as on. Now, what I want to do is go into each of these blooms, or these fruits, and we're going to take each point here and bring it down. Every other point, just like this. So that gives us our initial bloom shape. Let's grab these outer ones. I'm holding shift as I select each point. Then I'm going to hit curve, and I'm going to increase the curve. And so now we've got a little flower. So there's our initial bloom. And at this point, it would be tiny because it would be just starting to grow. So we want to select the entire bloom, and then holding Alt so that we keep it in this exact position, we shrink it down and make it tiny. So, right like that. And we just do that to each of these. So, I'm probably going to speed the video up here on the final edited video. So there are our fruits at their smallest point, and at their maximum they're going to be actual fruit. And in the middle, let's go to 48. At this point, we want to see great big blooms because that's the way it works. So we're going to hold Alt and stretch each of these out. And oh, our bloom is not held. So what I'm going to do is go to copy the first position and paste it where we're at. That will change that one back. But now when I expand it, it will still be a bloom. So now we're going to make these blooms show up. So we're going to find each one. Alright, I think that's all of them. Let me G to grab and just grab them all and see if we have any points that we didn't take care of. So there we go, we got our blooms. So now, immediately after they get to their biggest point, they're going to disappear again because now they're changing into fruit, the blooms will fall off, leaving the stamen that then turns into the fruit. So, we need to be back to not necessarily invisible, but we need to remove all of the changes we made. So I'm going to grab everything, and then I'm going to hit the control here and reset so that they're back to being circles. And then I'm going to go into the curve and reset that. So now they should be perfectly round. So yeah, now we're back to perfectly round. And that should carry through to here as well now. So yeah. So now all I need to do is simply reduce each one of them to their smallest point at 49. Okay, so we're going to grab each one at a time because we don't want it to move, and we're just going to shrink it. So we just make it a small fruit. And of course it needs to stay attached to the foliage. Alright, so now we've got our blooms that turn to fruit, and the fruit that then grows to large, plump, round fruit items. And so now what we need to do is go in and use the color. And the reason I'm not putting the color as part of the DNA is because the fruit changes color as it grows. So we're just going to do the color over here as part of the function of the tree, not as the digital DNA of creating what type of tree it is. So in effect, you can control that, what the final fruit looks like is going to be, what it is. So anyway, let's create this action. And of course, okay, there we go. rotate it all the way to the left for our small end. We jump to 141 for our maximum. And then at our minimum, we want it to be black and white because we do want to be able to make coloring pages out of it anyway. So we go into the fruit, we select the fruit objects. I may have to select each one of them individually. Holding Shift. And now we're going to set the style. We want it to be black and white. And if we don't change this now, as soon as we start changing colors, this will drift to that color. So now, our first color is going to be, well, most of the blooms start out as a kind of a yellow. So let's go with yellow. And we want the outer edge to be yellow too, but just a bit darker. Something like that. And then we want to be able to do orange. So we're going to jump to 24 and do orange. And the same with the stroke. And then we're going to go to 48 and we're going to make it extremely orange, or almost brown, more like an apricot. Dark. Then at 72 or 71, which is our midpoint, let's make them apples. So we're going to go to bright red. And at 96, let's take it to green. There could be lines. Let's make it a line green here. And then I can't think of any purple or blue fruit that grows in trees. It's all greens and such. So let's just change the greens we got here at this next level. It just goes through different shades of green. And then at 141, our final position, we'll make them dark green. So there we go. We've got our blooms, fruits can be any of these colors. And of course white. And there are many white blooms out there, so we can have white blooms with the green trees. And so now we've got blooms to fruit, and it looks like the apple red is our base color, and then of course we can go different colors. So there we go. There's our background tree with fruit, different colors, different sizes, and with blooms. So of course we want to change the color on the bloom. So we're going to save this. Again, it's 4. And that completes tree 1 completely. I can't think of anything else that we would need to do to it. So now we want to do another tree. And I really don't want to go through all of these steps again. And I really don't have to. And that's because my next tree was basically made as a variation of this one. So our next one is tree number 2. So here's background tree 2 Moho. So we're going to open that. So here we go. This is the second tree, and if we turn the Chiarez array on, you can see its position here is the second tree in the background trees there. And you can tell it's a different kind of tree, slightly, than the one we had before. Now, it still has the same foliage, front, back, mid, and everything that the first tree had. But let's go ahead and add the fruit. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm going to just copy this layer and go into my background tree here. And I'm just going to paste that layer here. So now this tree also has the fruit function. And so there we go, yeah. It's just none of the features have been applied to it. So what I could do is go in and copy all these bones and all these bones and these identity and copy it all over onto this document. But that's not what I want to do. I'm going to do it the opposite. What I'm going to do is copy the tree from here. So I'm going to copy this layer of the entire tree and place it in this document. So first we're going to save, make sure our current work's done, and then I'm going to save as, and we're going to create tree number 2 with DNA. So this is going to be number 2 and version 1 of tree 2. So background tree 2 DNA version 1 and save. And now I'm going to paste this layer above this tree here. So we're going to edit. There we go. So now you can see that tree 2 is in its proper place. And we are going to move it to this position, or we're going to move the bones. Let's just move the bones. But to move the bones, I need the tree to be, this to be a bone layer, or what I'm going to do is simply take all the components that are tree 2 and move them into tree 1, and then move all the parts that are tree 1 out. Just delete them. Alright, so now we've got our tree 2 inside of tree 1. We can get rid of this tree folder, it's empty. And we're going to rename this one to 2, because we're now working on tree 2, not tree 1. And now all of these bones are set, except for the ones that are the tree itself. So we can easily now go to this bone layer and move these bones into position where they belong. And adjust the layout to match this tree. And because I've done all the manipulating of these bones using these controls over here, all of this will carry through. So I can now still manipulate those bones, and when I'm done assigning everything to the tree, it'll function properly. So let's go ahead and, oh, you know what I didn't do on the original tree is to make the fruit part of the bone for one of the limbs. So we should go back to that document and do that before I forget. So I'm going to open the recent DNA 1 version 4. And we're simply going to grab the fruit layer and we're going to bind it to this branch right there. And that's it. So now we can say that we're done. I just didn't want to forget putting that in there. So now that when that particular group of branches moves, the fruit will move with it. We're going to grab this tree, this fruit, and move it into the tree. We're going to grab all these others and move them around. Don't want to grab a part of one. Make sure they're whole. And then we're just going to rotate it so that they're now slightly different than they were. And then let's take this one. So there, now we've got our different fruit tree. And we've got all our bones ready to go. Alright, so now we begin assigning to the bones. Now, because I've copied this from the already scaled system, now, yeah, something's wrong here. That bone should not be moving there. So let's fix that. This bone. It must be an action that's moving that. Yeah, an action is moving the tree. So we need to fix that. It carried through from the other tree, but because we had to move everything, it's now distorted. So we need to figure out which of these is moving the tree. So what we want to find is one of these lines here red for this particular bone. So let's go back to the first one. It's not red. Mid foliage. It's orange, not red. Back foliage, we know it's not red. Foliage front, not red. And we're just going to continue till we find the red one and then remove it. It's probably going to be one of the fruit things I just did. There it is, on roots. Well, that makes sense. So when I change the roots, I set their position. So let's take this out. And that doesn't move the tree back. Well, let's check if there's any others. Here it is. Bam, here. Okay, we've still got a little bit of movement there. Alright, there we go. So now the tree is not moving from its base set location. So now we're going to go in and assign the parts of the tree to the bones that it is manipulated by. Select the bone with B, then I to select the points, then bind those points. B for bone, then I can select the next set of points and bind them. B for bone, grab the next set of points and bind those. Then the foliage back is assigned to by layer to this bone. And branches 1 are this bone. Foliage mid is this bone. Branches 2 is this bone. Foliage front, branches 2, is this bone. Then foliage front is this bone. And then fruit is also this bone. And character ID should follow the main character move button. And so now our tree is ready to manipulate. So we can move any of the parts. The fruit is not working and none of the digital DNA is working. I still have to do all that work, but most of it's laid out properly now. Each tree will have the same layout here. And so we're ready to get rid of all the colors. We're not going to delete the A through K. That is our identity colors here. So those are going to stay as they are. But all of these trunk branch related are going to be deleted. So let's do that now. So now all the parts of the tree have been changed to their base shape and color. So we're going to fix the width on these. There we go. So basically we're just creating our base tree and what it's going to be at this point. So I'm going to add some points here for some root extension. Alright, so there we go. And let's bring this bit back out a bit. There we go. So now there's our basic tree. And we're going to start with front foliage DNA. So we're going to turn everything off that's not the front foliage. Alright, and then we're going to create an action. Front layer. Grab the code and create a new action. Well, actually the action exists because we already created it for the other tree. Let's see, does it need to carry through? It did not carry through. So we go to front foliage, and these objects are all different than that other tree. That's all there is to it. So we're going to move these around, start moving things and see what happens. I'm going to move the center. And now we can change our front. Mid. And the back. Make completely different trees. Alright. So now we need to do the DNA for branches 1. I'm going to turn off everything except for branches. Okay, so now we're going to go back into branches. And now at 71 we're going to reset. So we're just going to go to the branches. We're going to grab them, hit T. G to grab, T to transform, and place them, or we're going to reset. That way, that's exactly where and what they'll look like at that point. We're going to go to 1, pick up our magnet tool, and let's make that circle a bit smaller. And then we're going to bring all of this inward. Not so much to make it look younger or anything, but just to make it look different than what it was looking like. So it's a different tree. In fact, let's try rotating part of it. That. Definitely changes it. So now we can bring this back to here. Bring this up like that. So there's our minimal position. We're going to go then to 141. And then we're going to stretch them the other way. Just make a different looking tree. You have to go in and manually clean up some of it. We have a funky looking broken like branch that grew the wrong way. So let's do that. Bring that like that. Like I said, you may need to do a little cleanup when you use the magnet tool to alter what you've got, but it's still quick and easier than trying to do every point manually. Thicker there. Alright, so well, that looks weird. Let's fix this. And that's a little too far out there. This one could go out further. And I think I'm going to select the whole thing, hit curve, and then add a little roundness to it. So there we go. And now we can go from that, and let's reset the curve here. And then here, our curve would be super sharp. So there's no curve in that one. So we've got 141 different types of tree by branch there. Let's go into branches 2 and do it. And same thing here. We just want to watch and work on branches 2. At 71, we're going to reset everything. So hit T and then reset. And then we're going to drop down to 1. We're going to grab the magnet tool and just start making alterations to our tree. It's not about making it smaller, it's about making it different. But thinking about it as going inward or outward helps decide what to do. You know, I mean, obviously you could make completely different looking trees as long as you're using the same set of points. So let's, didn't want to move it. So that's that one. Yeah, that looks better. So there's one extreme, the normal reset point, and so now at 141, I'm just going to alter it again with the magnet. Alright, it's starting to look more like a tree anyway. That's too straight. There we go. And then we're going to select it and hit C and give it some curve. Go back to 71 and reset curve. And now we've got where sharp curve. So now we can go along the timeline and we've got different options for tree branches. Okay, the top trunk DNA is next. And just jump right on into that. I'm going to go look at the trunk and turn off the branches. So the top of the trunk is going to be just this portion. So I'm going to hit T and Alt and shrink it up. I'm going to keep it at the top of its bone though, so I'm going to bring it back over here like that. Let's go ahead and bring this down in like that. Then we go to 71, we grab those points and reset them. And then we go to 141 and we change where those points are because it's going to affect look of the tree underneath. I'm not going to see any of this. Actually, yeah, we will. Let's go see here. Get rid of that sharp or dull rounding there. There we go. So there's our big tree branches. Let's bring this one on up like this. And curve. So this is an extended branch. And then back to 71. Just want to make sure everything's reset. Back with curves. And they work. And the points. So now we can move on to mid-trunk DNA. B for bone, select that bone, jump to that action. It's halfway there, so we're going to grab the points below where we were working before. So I think we need these two here as well. So we'll go down. Right to there. That is our mid tree. So go 71, hit reset, then go to minimum, and basically we're just going to squish the tree's trunk to practically nothing, and then 141. We're just going to widen it. Okay, and because that looks all right, it'll work. So now we're going to jump to the roots, and that's also on the trunk here. So at the minimal position, we're going to have all the roots going up and into the tree. And we'll put a little bit out there, but mostly upward. And then at the other end, at the extreme, well, we need to reset at 71 first, so we're going to grab all of these points and reset. And reset curve. And then we're going to go to the other extreme, 141, and start bringing roots down and out. That'll need to be affected with the curve, same there. And there we've got some roots, but as you can see they're all rounded, so we're going to grab the tips. And hit C and make them sharp. And let's not go quite that sharp. There we go. Get rid of some of these extreme curves. And there's our maximum root look, except let's go ahead and add another little Alright, so that's extreme. Let's do this one as well and bring this down here. There we go. We've got some overlapping roots with a little bit of personality. There. Oh, that's better. Yeah. Alright, so there's our maximum root. Again, here we want to just make sure all of those points have reset and that the curve has reset. So there we go. We're ready to move on to trunk color. So now, does trunk up and down still work? Yeah, that's still fully functional. Okay, so we're ready to do the color. So the trunk color, what we need to do is, we're on the trunk already, so we're just going to grab the object that is the trunk, just like that. And at 1 on our timeline, we want it to be black and white, so we're going to just select white for the fill and black for the stroke. And let's see, I think I'd like to use a little bit of a roughening on the bark. So there, we get a little bit of a rougher bark. That may be a little too jagged at the edges. Let's see. I'm looking here to see the effect that what I'm doing is having. So let's take a look. I think that'll work. So there's our bark texture. And so branches 1 and branches 2 are going to be the same colors. So I'm going to select branches. Oh, got to be in it. There we go. Make sure that it's black and white. And then branches 2. Alright, so now they're all black and white at the first position. At the second position, they're going to become our lightest brown. So let's go with something like that. And for the stroke, I'm going to grab that same color and then go in and make it darker. So I usually just go down and to the right. And I don't want it to be a whole lot different because it is supposed to just be a rounding like that. So there's our color for our branches. I'm going to copy the stroke color. I'm going to go into branches 2. Grab its stroke and paste that color, and then grab the trunk, grab the stroke and paste that color. Then I gotta go back to branches 2. Oh wait a minute, I didn't select the trunk. There, I think I've got it all. So now we want to, oh not that, we want to go to change the stroke. There we go. But I didn't have all of it, so now I'm going to grab the rest of it and give that the same color. In fact, let's go a little bit darker with this one. Alright, there we go. So now we're going to go back to branches 2. We're going to get that, copy the color here. and go in and paste that in branches 1. And let's make it just a little different because it's further in. I'm just going to make it slightly different. Same with the dark edge. Let's go in and just slightly darker. And then the trunk. And again, we're going to have to select each part separate. And let's make this one a little darker this direction. So now we've got a tree with some personality. Now we're going to jump to 141 because there is no resetting on color. It is what you assign it, where you assign it. So here we're going to want the stroke to be quite dark. About there. And let's copy that stroke ID color. And select the other part of the tree and paste it. But we want it to be lighter, so we're going to go, oh no wait, this part we want darkest. So we'll bring it all the way down to dark there. And then we'll select the fill, and let's see, we'll go about right there. Let's do one of the branches that same color at this point. So the fill. And then go back to the trunk, select this color, that needs to be darker, and give it a little more red. I forget which side's darker in the Chiarezza scenery. Yeah, far right. Okay, so this needs to be much darker. Like that darker. And then the stroke should be closer to that as well. And let's go to branches 2, and they're going to get the same colors. That light color, copy that, go to branches 2, and use that color here. And the stroke should just be slightly darker so you can tell that it's a demarcation. So there we go. We've got our colors, and goes from that to that. Alright, so back to the tree. And let's test out our controls here. Go to the main line. So mid-trunk, roots. Didn't finish roots off somehow. Probably didn't rotate the bone as I should have. Okay, there we go. That's why we test everything. It's easy to miss a step. So, there we go, roots and roots. Trunk up and down. Trunk left and right. And with up and down you can really get some weird effects here. And then distort the trunk. I'm going to have to work with this one because it's not distorting well. So we'll work on that one. Then the trunk color, and then front foliage color, back foliage color, and back or mid foliage color, and then back color. So let's go into distort trunk. So that carried over because we're using the same bones as we did before. And all we've done is revamped the item, the drawing itself. So let's take this bone, and we want to make the distortion okay, but it still needs to look like, you know, a fully functional tree. So just the way I drew this trunk is different than the way I drew the other trunk. So let's start closer to the original. So here we go. Now we'll distort this way. Just like that. So the other extreme for distortion, that's pretty good. It doesn't need a lot, it's just extreme. We're going to bring it down a bit. And this one needs to be over. There. Alright, so the distortion's working better now. And we're ready to go into front foliage DNA. So, color. So we want to turn off the branches in the trunk and just turn on the front foliage. I'm going to select all of them using the object select. See if we get them all. Not without touching them all, apparently. So I'm holding shift while I click each of these. Okay, I think I've got them all, but this... There. That one was not getting picked up. Alright, so we want to go to Style, and we want to set it as black and white. And we want to give the white some transparency so that we can see what's behind it as well. So, just like that. What are we at? 82, let's make it a clean 80%. And then we're going to jump to 2, and this is where we're going to become green. So we pick a green, and it should be a very light green at this point. There we go. Same with the stroke, should be green. And maybe nowhere near that dark, but definitely a demarcation like that. So there's our green, light green, and just like with the other tree, I'm going to go to 108, and this will be our dark green. So we're just going to drop way down to the darks. There we go. jump ahead one, and now we're going to become fall colors. So kind of an orangish brown, but it should be bright orange right now, or red actually. Let's go to deep red. And then at 141, we'll have it drop down to, say, the yellow colors. Which are always kind of a yellow, dull yellow. So there we go there. Alright, so let's see how that looks. Alright, there's our first set of colors. I'm going to just copy those. I can get the copy to work. There we go. Only to number 1. Control copy. Now I'm going to go into the action for foliage color 2. So mid foliage, you want to turn that one on. Alright, so back to mainline. Let's turn on everything. You can rearrange the structure of the tree. And rearrange the structure of the branches and the trunk, the roots, trunk size, distort or left, right, up, down, distort. Oh, that's color. This was distort. This is trunk up and down. So, changed colors. And there we are. We now have our newest tree, tree 2, based off of tree 1, most of it. So we can produce a brand new tree on the fly, and it's very unlikely somebody's going to create the exact tree. The branches move, the foliage moves, the tree itself moves, and this one is supposed to make the foliage disappear, so we need to do that one. This one is fruit and blossoms, and this is fruit and blossom color. So there we go. So the only thing left to do is the foliage size. At 1, each of these foliages will be invisible. Then at 1, they become visible. Alright, so now at foliage front, at position 2, we want each of these foliages to be as small as they can be. So we're going to go to 1% on each of them. The reason I'm not grabbing all of them and reducing them as one whole group is when you do that, it shrinks everything to the center of whatever you've selected. So, can't do it. And then the fruit. So, there we go. I believe that is the final for this tree. So, exit to the main line. Let's clear all animation from the document. And I'm going to make sure that these are designated as shy bones. So there we go. And then we can show shy bones. And now I'm going to test each bone. So works. And I'm checking the numbers up here that are changing and making sure they're changing properly. Colors, our blossoms change. We go from no blossoms to blossoms that shouldn't be green. And then when they drop off, now we can start growing the fruit, which gets greener and greener until it jumps to the right orange, yellow, whatever it is. Everything moves as it should. So there's our final for this tree. We go to the main line and the main construction layer, and sure everything's on. And that's it. That's tree 2. Thanks for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe and share this with others. Teach them about what Danger Aware is doing. We're trying to change the paradigm of abuse awareness by using play and entertainment. So we're creating games and stories and things to teach kids their personal rights and how to call out the very early stages of abuse so that the later stages can never happen. You have a great day, and thanks again.
Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Watch for the things that cause alarm. Watch for the one that would do you harm. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Please be alert and be aware of all the dangers anywhere. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Stand your ground and speak out loud. Let the world know harm's all around. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that lives next door. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you adore. Danger, danger. Danger, danger. Danger, danger, could be a stranger, could be the one that you